How
I
does it
think you
all
guys
sit?
are absolutely crazy for not having been collecting emails this whole time and having people make an account. That seems just bonkers insane to me. So glad that we'll fix that.
Okay.
The neural net feels like totally the wrong approach for the kind of data that you have. Hey, welcome back to the Indie Worldwide podcast. I'm mixing it up a little bit. I've been not uploading recently, and I want to come back and do something a bit more interesting than what we've done before. So, before it was usually interviews, founder stories, tell me your story and what you're building. I think that's kind of boring. So instead, I'm doing live consultations. I bring somebody on who has like a specific problem that they want to talk about their business, and then I do my best to help them analyze the problem and come to some kind of solution, or at least something that they can try to address the problem. I'm hoping that this is going to be a lot more interesting and help us get to deeper conversations, things that are more tactical and specific and useful for all of you who are building businesses of your own. So today, our generous volunteer, the first person that I'm running this experiment with, is Hugh Lagraderia, longtime Indie Worldwide member, founder of Outdone.io. Did I get that right? Yeah, Outdone.io. You pick somebody that you're shopping for, answer some questions, and then AI recommends you gifts. Okay? They wanted to work on their strategy moving to now this new world of large language models like ChatGPT. We went deep into that. We identified some more basic problems with their UX and their business, and I think we found some interesting things for Hugh to work on. Let me know in the comments what you think about this new format, and if you would like to do one of these live consultation calls, DM me on Twitter, send me a message in the Indie Worldwide Slack, and we'll try to make something happen.
My co-founder John and I have launched two versions of the site to date. We had an MVP in the fall of 2021, and then what we consider maybe like a post MVP, but still a toned down version of the site um, in November of last year. And alongside us releasing those products, the large language model craze has gone bonkers, and it's really had us kind of rethink what we've already built versus what we maybe should be building.
Let's start by looking at what the site is now. So I've got Outdone.io pulled up here. Can you see my screen as well?
Yep.
All right, so I'm looking at a landing page. It's bright and colorful and welcoming, and it says find the perfect gift in a minute or less. How old is the person you're shopping for? And then there's a big continue button. So I'm going to simulate shopping for my dad. Who am I shopping for? My dad, male. Do they like any of the following? And there's a bunch of categories here: cooking, photography, alcohol, coffee, puzzle board games, reading. Do they enjoy any physical activities? Let's see: fishing, camping. Do they regularly go to any following places? They don't go to beach or bars, clubs, or whatever it's for. Any of those places. Those are the places they like. What is my fashion sense? I guess we'll say loungewear and outdoorsy. Do they like any following foods and drinks? Coffee, wine, beer. Yeah. What kind of area do they live in? We're in the countryside and we're in New York. Do they regularly after sporting distances? Not really. Maybe in the USA. And let's do $50 to $150 range. So I click Get Recommendations. And now I see 4 brands highlighted. Let's see what this most recommended one is. We got Cotopaxi. I see some jackets and backpacks and things. Cool, and it takes me to a rain jacket that I can buy. I feel a little bit left hanging on the final result, I guess. Like there's only a limited set of options. Can you tell me how this experience is different, if it is at all, from your current thoughts about the product?
What we think will really be different is the recommendation experience. So, what you're kind of experiencing now, uh, with the help of a large language model, things like narrative style recommendations. So rather than just getting the product image, the product name, we could actually have some more colorful recommendations that kind of are like narrative form, as if you're talking to a shopping assistant. Oh, Anthony, you said your dad likes to drink beer and he lives in a rural area. Maybe he'll like this camping equipment or something to that effect. While sometimes the recommendations are even spot on, people are left wondering why it was recommended, why it's a good fit. And it's
Hmm.
kind of, I think you were alluding to it, it leaves you wanting more a little bit. To kind of go under the hood for a second, the way we're recommending products now is we've built a neural network that ingests all the inputs you gave it, and then it spits out recommendations. So it recommends brands that your dad's most likely to enjoy. That model was built on survey data. While we're proud of what we built, we think it's lacking for a number of reasons. I think first and foremost, it's very expensive to train and improve because we have to go and collect a bunch more survey data. We have to survey all these shoppers. And it's also kind of slow because if we want to add a new brand ad hoc, we have to go field all this survey data on that brand and then add it to the engine and retrain the engine. So as opposed to doing that kind of methodology to the engine, what we'd like to do is a
Mm-hmm.
large language model. And we've actually been making some strides there in terms of getting a proof of concept kind of MVP up and running where we tell the large language model, this is the type of person we're shopping for, search our database of products made by these
Mm-hmm.
brands and spit back products you think are well suited for it, for the shopper.
It sounds
Short
like a
description.
better approach. The that you were using a neural net at all for the first product is a little bit surprising because they work best with a large data set, and it doesn't seem like you're dealing with a very large data set if you're going off of like survey data from some beta users.
I think you're right from the perspective of it maybe not being the best approach, but it was quite a large data set we collected. So we got over 30,000 like consumers to take the
Mm-hmm.
survey. Again, that's not in the hundreds of thousands or millions of data points, but it was a somewhat robust sample. So essentially, we received brand liking data from about 300 people per brand. So each brand had 300 people rating how much they like it or didn't like it.
So the data you have is kind of the profile of a person and then the products that they like the most.
Yes, it's technically the brands they like the most, and then John and I hand selected which products to show. Um, but
Mm,
essentially, yes.
gotcha.
And that actually is another component of this is through this new methodology we're considering, we could have the engine pull product descriptions and products that are most semantically related to the person that was described for the gift.
Can you pull in user reviews as well?
We would like to. Actually, we were recently talking through that. So we've come across this really cool website. If you'd want to check it out, it's called violet.io. And they've built a really interesting AI that allows companies like ourselves to build our own checkout and checkout experience for shoppers without owning any inventory. And it does that by allowing you to plug into Shopify's API. So, for example, Lululemon is one of our brands for
Hmm.
Outdone. I believe Lululemon uses Shopify, so we could use Violet as like a middleman, their API, to to access all of Lululemon's inventory, their price points, their images, and we can build our own checkout on our site. And the reason I mention that is because we were exploring things like, oh, could we pull in product reviews for specific products?
Yeah, that would be great. Like I imagine a better experience after I fill out the survey being, um, hey, here's some products. ChatGPT tells me a story about the product, why it's a fit for me, and then even if it could pull in the user reviews and say, hey, we think you would really like this rain jacket because people in reviews have been mentioning that it's very light and waterproof or something. Have you thought about also replacing the survey with an interactive chat experience?
We certainly have. We ha- Honestly, what we'd love to do is to A/B test it. So build this new rec engine and then layer on top of it a survey flow and then layer on top of it just like an open-ended chatbot and see which performs better. We have our own hunches for pros and cons of both. We do think we've had some indicators to suggest people do enjoy the point and click. It's somewhat less thinking. It's you could argue less work because you're clicking, not typing. So we do have reason to believe that people do like the survey flow.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a world where we give users either option, either a search bar and say search whatever you like and we'll respond to you, or follow our kind of structured onboarding flow. So it's something we have thought about. we're leaning towards sticking with what we know just for now, but we certainly haven't ruled out the chatbot because there's definitely value there.
What kind of traffic are we dealing with now? How many people are using this website?
Yeah, good question. So when we launched the MVP in 2021, it was kind
Hmm.
of modest numbers. We got roughly 6,000 visitors over the course of our lifespan when we launched in November or October of 2021. Version 2, which we launched last November, was certainly seemed to have much more traction. So through November and December, we got over 25,000 visitors, which was really great with
Okay.
pretty honestly modest marketing spend. We spent a couple $1,000s on like TikTok videos, some paid advertising, but a lot of it was word of mouth. We did product hunt launch. We got a feature or a mention in the New York Times, which was really cool.
Dang.
So kind of, yeah, doing like some growth hacking the best we could. Uh, since kind of our deliberate push for the site last year, we're probably averaging anywhere between 500 and 1,000 visitors a month now. So it's certainly tampered down. Yeah, which is really just driven by the fact that we've pivoted our focus to rethinking the methodology behind the site. We've also been working on a pre-seed round of funding. So we've built a pitch deck. We've been trying to knock down doors in the VC world, which is a new experience for John and myself, which has been interesting and a good learning experience. But that's kind of been more of our focus this year as opposed to driving continued traffic to the current version.
Gotcha. So to me, the existential failure of the website so far is there's no stickiness. It's right now it feels like something that, okay, I'm shopping for Christmas time, late November. I maybe see this in an article I click around. I'm like, oh, okay, here's an idea. Never come back. I forget the website. Even when I finish the current survey flow, when I try to leave that page, it says, if you leave now, this page will be gone forever, right? If we want to build a VC backable business, we need some way to have retention. There has to be a good reason for users to come back to my website regularly and throughout the year. Retail is super driven by like Christmas, New Year's, right? Like that is usually something like 60%, 70% of a retail website's revenue, from what I understand, is just the holiday season. So you're going to have natural spikiness there, but we would still want to see the users coming back, right? So what might be useful would be to build a profile on the user. So maybe shift the pitch a little bit from we'll help you find a gift right now to we'll learn all of your preferences and come up with gift ideas for you. So it could even become like a email alert kind of system where it's like, okay, we know all these things about you now because you've created a profile with us. Just like search your database regularly once a week. Hey, here's the like deal of the week, and this is exactly why we think that you in particular are gonna like this product. And you can have like, are you still shopping for? You could have them build profiles for each person in their life. Like, oh, here's my profile on my mom. Here's my sister. And then it could say, oh, are you still shopping for your mom? Here's some things we think that you would like. That to me becomes a lot stickier service, and you can deliver it via email, right? So you can have people engaging in a continual loop with your website versus just coming in when they think about it or when they see an ad.
Absolutely. And so a lot of thoughts there. A couple things. So I will mention the current version. We do have a profile capability, so you can create an account. We'd be the first ones to admit to you it's pretty rudimentary and a little clunky from a UX perspective, but you can technically create an account, save users, save like their birthday, Christmas, et cetera, et cetera. And the value prop we tried to sell, or we did sell, we did message, but we didn't have the technical capacity to do was those kind of email reminders. So if you add your sister, you'll get an email a month before with gift recommendations, for example. So that is kind of on our mind, but admittedly, we're not quite where we want to be yet.
This
Um,
needs to be integrated into that survey flow. When I get to the end, it should say, who is this? Put in their name, and then save this profile. And that should be the trigger to create an account. Because right now,
mm,
there is no um, impetus, there's no like hook to get me to make an account at all, right? It kind of pushes me away from making an account even. When it's like hard to find where I would even do that. But
that's a
right at
really
the
good,
end, like
yeah.
that's where you've got to save this profile and then opt in. Would you like us to send you gift ideas? Opt out anytime. Like that's where you get them right there. And those
That's
emails
a
are
great idea.
invaluable.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I think we prioritized users and visitors over uh, stickiness, but just hearing you think through those thoughts and share them, like I totally agree with you. I think that, and that, I think that's a great place for that, uh, not paywall, but lack of a better word,
Just sign
that
up wall. It
barrier.
doesn't even
Yeah,
need to
sign up wall.
block them from seeing the results. It just needs to give them the option to create an account to save them.
Hmm.
So it doesn't have to take anything away from what they can see now. And that would be my first priority. Way before the LLM stuff, which I think is also a good idea. This should be like a 1 day task. It's just an extra form field and hook it into your existing account creation flow because you already have that, right? So you're just putting two and two together. That would be I would do that today if possible
Yeah,
because those
that's really
emails
great.
are evergreen. Like whatever product changes you make, who are you going to announce that to, right? You want to get the signups because once you have their attention and once you have their email, if you shipped a new feature, you can say, hey, check out this great new thing that we built. You might like it.
Hmm.
10, 20,
Hmm.
30% of your list comes back to the website to check it out. If you don't have the list, then you can't do that. You're back to square zero. Square zero. You're back to the very beginning of like, can we get the New York Times to write about us again? Can we go back on Product Hunt? You can only do these things so many times per year, right? So I would get that up right away. Then launch your LLM features as the next priority and make a whole launch about it. Now you have a way to capture that attention and actually hold on to those users, hopefully.
Mm, that's really great. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. One other thing I'd mention is we've toyed and kind of wrestled with the idea of this is a gifting site, but theoretically people could shop for themselves on there. And
Mm-hmm.
do we have people create profiles and then we offer them recommendations to shop for themselves? Uh, we do certainly think that that could be an eventual uh, value add for the site. And lots of people have told us like they put themselves in there and just see what they get recommended for. The
Yeah.
reason we focused on gifting primarily is because we don't really know what problem or hook we'd be selling with a personal shopping assistant. Like there's no major pain point there. To us, the biggest problem here, the clearest problem that everyone seems to struggle with at some point in their life is they don't know what the heck to buy the person they're shopping for. So that's kind of why we focus on it. It just feels like from a getting organic traffic or getting traffic organically, that's kind of the hook to go for. Um, but wanted to mention that as well because that's certainly a potential secondary benefit of the site we're building.
Yeah, I think that's the right priority. Gift giving is that like painful problem that they need to solve right now. It's like, oh shit, birthday's next week. I need to get something for my little brother or whoever it is. That's when you get them. That's when you hook them. But then you can say, hey, tell us a little bit more about yourself. We'll send you things that we think you'll like. But I think your priorities there are correct. Focus on
Right.
gifts first.
Okay.
But the infrastructure sounds like it would be exactly the same. You come back, you say, "Hey, create a profile for yourself," and then you can start recommending them things, and that makes
Mm-hmm.
your user base data so much more valuable because you've given people a really strong reason to give you a lot of information about themselves, right? So you should be able to drive a lot of commerce that way by giving these really targeted recommendations with a story attached to them. Um, that sounds to me like it could be a great business.
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of incentivizing people to give us more details about themselves because they want more accurate recommendations. Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean that's why Facebook's worth almost $1 trillion sometimes, right? It's because they've
Yeah.
got so much data about us that they can send us really specific ads, hopefully things that we actually want. Your intent here is even higher, right? Because people are explicitly opting in to be sold to, which is rare. Usually people are happen to be closely related enough to some products that you can maybe sell to them. Here they're saying, sell things to me. I'm
Mm,
trying to buy things. What do you think I would like? So that should be
exactly.
a really valuable um, user base. You just need to start actually collecting their information.
Yep. Exactly right. Um,
Cool.
so yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if we have
that's
anything else to talk about. Like, go do that.
yeah. I mean, that's like super helpful, Anthony. And it seems like I'm going to be curious, just kind of your reaction as I bounce this off of you. Things are kind of tracking in terms of the thought process I've laid out for why John and I have gone down the route we have, why we feel like we need to pivot slightly from a product perspective. Uh, yeah, how
I
does it
think you
all
guys
sit?
are absolutely crazy for not having been collecting emails this whole time and having people make an account. That seems just bonkers insane to me. So glad that we'll fix that.
Okay.
The neural net feels like totally the wrong approach for the kind of data that you have. I think that there's other statistical techniques you can use, like what's it called, like LK means clustering. There's more efficient
Yep.
algorithms you could have chosen there. Kind of irrelevant at this point because we're switching to LLM world anyway, which seems like a better solution because of the ability for the LLM to tell me a story about why I want a product, which is like, that's crazy. That's like the shoe salesman is now in my email inbox telling me about, the latest Nike drop and why this is an amazing shoe and I definitely want it. Targeted to each specific person and their specific needs sounds like an incredibly valuable service, both for the person signing up, but also like for you guys and all your retailers on the platform. I think that's the approach, but get the emails first. Priority number 000. Do that right now.
Totally. I'd love to ask you one more question if you have a second.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if you noticed it's affiliate marketing based. So when you clicked on this on the sweater, it redirects you
Mm.
to a new shopper's website. Do you have any kind of immediate reaction to that user experience versus if we have native checkout and if you as a shopper would feel much differently to not be redirected to another site?
Hmm. I don't know if my like shopping behavior is super reflective of the world at large. I think either thing is fine. If this is the easier thing to implement, I don't think it makes a huge difference which one you go with. It feels probably more trustworthy to go to the third party website. The downside is like you've lost them at that point. They're off browsing other things. You maybe have to hook them again with an email, another email, or they come back later. But for now, I think that's a fine decision, and you don't have to um, like to prefer to buy it on your website. I need to really trust your website first. I don't know if we're there
Mhm.
yet. So having the
Mhm.
checkout be on the third party, where I know like, okay, yeah, this is definitely the brand website, and I'm buying it directly from them, feels
I
fine.
see. Yeah, right. Yeah, we've kind of tried to deprioritize the native checkout because we haven't validated that it's driving away any sales. We just don't love how we're basically pushing people off our site, which just feels weird. But
Mhm.
certainly the easiest route to implement.
Yeah, that's why it'd be really nice to have like on those results pages, I should be able to go back to my profile for dad or mom or whoever on the regular and see things come up and maybe even a button I can push that's like find me another and I get them one at a time and each one comes with a little story and I have to wait. That could be a really nice viral loop where oh, I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm going to keep clicking this button and I'm going to keep getting a new story and a new product. And then if
Hmm.
even if your inventory isn't huge, it now feels a lot better because it feels really intentional. Because each
Yeah.
one is coming with a little story. That gives me a
Yep.
reason to come back. I would love to see how this goes. I'll be back in New York next week or in a couple weeks, so maybe we can do a part two in person, and you'll show me the all the amazing changes you've made, and now you've got thousands of people on your email list, and they're coming to the website every day. That's what
Hell
it
yeah.
means.
Yeah. If you're if you're ever in town, please do hit me up. John's in the city as well, so we could link up, grab lunch or beer, whatever. So keep me posted.
Right on. All right. Thanks, you. Have a great night.
Awesome. All right. Safe travels back. Take care, Anthony.